Hello, and welcome to Handled-ish, Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast for those who want to elevate their productivity but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and as always, I'm so happy that you're here with me in podcast land or on YouTube. This is episode 60, the half birthday check-in. So, way back in episode 37, I talked about how it was my birthday week, and I had been doing a lot of reflecting and decided that there were a few things I wanted to explore during the next year, which I called my next chapter. I feel that on everybody's birthday, that's the start of their next chapter. And since the chapter is halfway over now, because my birthday's in October, I thought it would be a good time to check in and reflect on what I had been reflecting on and see if there's been any course correction or progress or additional thinking about the things that I had shared with you in episode 37. So one of the things I talked about is how I'm super obsessed with this idea of a quest. And at that time, I think I had decided I was going to have coffee with 55 different people during the next year. And I did go ahead and start that. First of all, I had to set some rules. I decided that it needed to be one-on-one, that virtual coffees were not going to count for my quest, and that I needed to spend at least 30 minutes talking to the person about something other than, I think I just want 30 minutes of conversation, right? Before, anything else transpired. And so it was just me and the person and at least 30 minutes of conversation. And because it was coffees, I, decided that the only person who had to drink coffee was me, right? Because obviously I was going to talk to people who didn't like coffee. So I had to kind of fit some parameters. And so that was my decision. And so because I was still spending most of my time on the couch because of my broken kneecap when I had my birthday, obviously there was a slow start. I was still able to, I think I logged about 11 different coffees before, I think it was right before the holidays. And then the holidays were busy. And I just thought, oh gosh, I need to get back to my coffee quest. And then I decided that that wasn't questy enough. So I feel like a quest needs to be more of a journey. I think I established that as a quest because I felt like, that was physically doable at that particular time. And now, thanks to the miracles of physical therapy, I don't have as many of those physical restrictions. And so I think my quest can be questier. And so, I'm wanting to, figure out what the heck that quest is. Um, at the moment, I don't have a formal quest, but I did adjust the one from my birthday. So that's what this half year reflection is for. And so it's really helpful to me to now think about this. So I had done the intentional thinking of dropping my coffee quest. Not that I don't love to have coffees with people. I love it and I will continue to do so. And I love coffee. I love conversation. I love people. But I need to think of another quest. So that's going to be something I'm going to be doing. The second thing that I talked to you about was this idea of a massive purge, a physical and digital purge, because I really felt that all of that was really weighing on me. And I have done quite a bit of that in my house. I just reorganized my pantry start to finish. I reorganized everything in the kitchen start to finish. I reorganized my closet start to finish and have done some work in my office. I'm not quite finished with that. And then there are some drawers that I still need to finish, but I did a huge amount, probably, yeah, 60-ish% of every single thing in the house I've at least looked at and organized. So I feel really good about that. I definitely know that I'll be able to finish the physical quest by the time my next birthday rolls around. And it has been as fabulous as I thought it was. It's so, for me, it's just so satisfying and just makes me so happy, especially my pantry because I'm in there all the time and it's exactly the way I want it. And I'm trying really hard to, keep up with the maintenance. So there isn't, a bunch of stuff in there that I don't want or need. Kind of try to keep that up because when you do a purge, right, and you organize something like a pantry or a closet or a kitchen, you want to make sure that it stays the way you want it. Otherwise, you're just going to be, rinse and repeat these massive reorgs. And that's not as fun, right? It's just having the chore be done. That doesn't mean that, I won't, periodically go through my closet and, get rid of things that I don't like or give them away or whatever. But my closets have stayed pretty awesome. And it's been several months since I've done that. One thing I had to give up though was the Tupperware drawer. So when I reorganized the kitchen, my Tupperware drawer was gorgeous. I got rid of a bunch of lids that didn't have bottoms, which I still don't understand how that happens, but it does, and it was just great. I have since noticed that it is really difficult to keep a very organized Tupperware drawer, which is why it's a drawer and not like on a shelf. And I just decided that I'm just going to have to let that go. And my Tupperware drawer is always going to sort of look like a train wreck. And, again, it's a drawer. I can shut the drawer and shut the cabinet, and I don't have to look at it all the time. And it's still functional, right? When I need Tupperware, at least I know all the Tupperware is in the same place, and I can put away my leftovers or, package something up to send, home with somebody or something. So that was kind of a little funny caveat to my physical purge. Digital purge, I have not made much progress. All right, full transparency, I haven't made any progress. So again, that's something that I really feel strongly about doing before my birthday. So I got 6 months. I got to figure out, how the heck I'm going to do that. So that's on my list. The third thing that I was going to do was to experiment with this idea of having, chunks of unstructured time where I didn't really even think about it beforehand. It's just like, okay, this is a half day, this is a day. And I'm not going to have any plans, and I'm just going to see what happens. No, I'm not built for that. And it was really interesting because I did try. I have found that I'm, fine with having a half day or a full day or whatever, that it doesn't have actual plans. I've been able to do that a couple of times, but I can't stop thinking about what the plan might be for that particular day. I think that just might be how I'm wired. This is also a very busy season with me, in such a good way. I have such amazing opportunities at work. However, there's a lot of them. I'm super grateful that I'm doing a ton of things with my friends. And so that's keeping me really busy. So the opportunities for unstructured time aren't there as plentifully as perhaps in another season of time. So there's that piece, but I just don't know if I can look at a half day on the calendar and say, I'm not even going to think about what I might do that day. I'm just going to get up and do it. I still do want to try because I think if I'm able, I really want to, complete that experiment and see if that's something I enjoy. I did find it very amusing that I wasn't even able to do the experiment, let alone assess what happened with the experiment. So still playing with this whole idea of unstructured time. I'm still super happy that I chose to reflect on those three things. I think it's been very fun and interesting and useful to me. Um, Also doesn't surprise me that the one thing I've done more work on is the purge. Probably also doesn't surprise me that I'm course correcting on the quest. I was a little like, yeah, it's kind of a boring quest when I made the quest. So it probably isn't a surprise that I decided I need to do an actual quest, like you know, where you go to, all the different ballparks, or, the top X number of national parks, or, something like that. Just a little more questy, which is the only way I can describe it. So I will I will report back on that for sure. So, when is your half birthday? And if you, like me, reflected and made some thoughts about what you want to accomplish in the next chapter of your life, which again, I believe starts on everyone's birthday, um, if it's getting close to your half birthday, potentially you might want to think about reflecting also and where you're at on those things. And if it is a while until your half birthday, you may want to just put a note on your calendar that says, hey, half birthday, time to check in, because there's 6 months left before the next one. And, if you really have intention to do something, then, you don't want to disappoint yourself, because that's no fun. So you might want to, spend some time going, okay, 6 months is still plenty of time to get the thing done. And so it doesn't drop off the radar. And then you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is one more year that, for me, it'd be like, oh my gosh, this is one more year that I didn't do the digital purge. I don't want to do that to myself. So I have very, very strong intentions to do that. Intentions don't get stuff done, though, as you know. So the next thing I knew is to need to create is a concrete plan. Right. And clearly that's going to need to have regular chunks of time that I chip away. This is not something I can do in 1 day or 2 days or probably even a week because there's so much to go through. But once I do, I'm also going to have to figure out a practice to keep it updated. So I'm not, again, looking at 10,000 photos that have not been organized for the most part, and, gazillion, 1,000 notes in my Evernote. And I don't even want to think about how many computer files I have. But I'm also excited about going through that stuff because I'm sure there's things that I have forgotten about that I might really enjoy just for the sake of amusement, or if not, they could potentially be helpful in, the kinds of things that I'm doing now. So there we go. All right. Join me next week for another episode of Handled-ish Productivity for the Imperfect. Until then, have the most amazing week ever, or at least a pretty darn good one. And take care and be kind to yourself because, as you know, I believe that you are doing way better than you think you are. Trust me.